Hey guys, so I'm finally done with General Scribe build and I didn't want to use the meta things like Blade Warrior or Perforate I guess. I decided to test the Earthquake. The Earthquake has its own problems, it's kind of delayed, but I managed to get pretty decent damage. However, this is Berserker with aspect of Carnage. However, I managed to avoid using Abyssus, so it's not as squishy as it could be if you want to go for the maximum squishiness and maximum damage. Now, for single target, it is over 4 million damage per earthquake, and I am creating 5 generals which each use earthquake. It does have some drawbacks. You don't want too much cooldown because if you use General's Cry too quickly before we perform an attack, then you will resummon them and they will not even attack. So we don't want to have too much attack speed. And we also need to be able to reach enemies and attack. So again, too much cooldown recovery rate may be bad. So I have currently almost exactly 2-second cooldown and it feels enough. However, because this is earthquake, we create like the fissure on the ground and then after like 1 second it explodes into shockwave. If we place the fissure on the ground with the initial attack and we get resummoned, the shockwave is still gonna happen, so it's not a problem. But clear speed wise, it is a bit clunky, it's a bit delayed, and like I said, this is Berserker with aspect of Carnage, so it feels like a wet toilet paper. I do have Fortify, and that's pretty much it. I do have some armor, but I decided to just embrace squishiness. I do have 5.6k armor with no flasks. I don't have any defenses other than Fortify essentially. But it doesn't feel too bad in some cases. I tried Sirius and it's just bad. Like you get hit, you're dead. And it doesn't really have regen, it cannot have leech. Well, it can have leech, but your cyclone alone doesn't do all that much damage. I also have pretty nice mace. I end up having 30% chance to deal double damage, so sometimes when it rolls critical and it rolls double damage on all the earthquakes, it just absolutely destroys the bosses. I will show some clips fighting some conquerors that just melted. But there's quite a lot of conditions on this, like the blood stance, you also need to have Val Ancestral Warchief, you have to have Bottle Fate, you have to maim enemies, it's just not very pleasant, I would say. Oh, also Brittle Ground as well, you have to run through the enemies, but because you are cycling, it's very easy to apply Brittle Ground right underneath enemies. Unless we move, then you need to reapply the Brittle Ground underneath them. So it is quite conditional, and also I end up using the new Echoes of Creation helmet, which doesn't have a drawback for General Scry because General Scry cannot be exited with other war cries. You just use General Scry and you're not really attacking yourself with the exerted attack, you just kind of release the attack that is exerted. So you don't even take the damage from the helmet. And you just straight up get up to 15% more damage for your General Scry attacks, and that's it. You could go with the Abyssus, like I said, to get a lot more damage, like add an extra 1.3 mil per earthquake. However, because this has a cooldown, it's not like 20 million DPS, it's more like 10 million DPS. But like I said, if we roll double damage and crit, and the crit is actually 100% with the Brittle Ground, with the Bottle Fate, don't even actually need Diamond Flash, but I just end up using it just because you don't always have all those conditions. And you could use Lion's Roar for the maximum damage, but still, is it really worth it? I'm not too sure. And other than that, it's like pretty simple build. You don't need the infinite power shield, but you kind of need to be Berserker. Well, you don't need to be Berserker, but everyone goes Berserker for this node. Exerted attacks deal 50% more attack damage if a Warcry sacrificed rage recently. If you have more than 25 rage, you sacrifice rage when you Warcry and then you get 50% more damage for the next like 4 seconds. And you keep juggling your rage between below 25 and then above 25. So this just gives straight up 50% more damage. That's why everyone go with the Berserker. Now for General Scry, you need corpses as well. That's why Cyclone Casual Charring Desecrate works pretty well. However, Desecrate may also kill FPS, so I am using the MTX to kind of kill FPS less. So General Scry summons Mirage Warriors from 2 corpses per 5 power. So basically you need 5 corpses to create 5 Mirages, right? But you also need enough power. With Desecrate you can create up to 10 corpses, which means from 10 corpses you get 4 Mirages. And if there's any target around, you're gonna get a 5th Mirage as well. So that is one of the reasons why I didn't go with the helmet enchantment but would give an extra mirage, because what if there is not enough power to get enough mirages? So I wasn't too sure. I just didn't want to go with that, and the damage difference isn't that much different. Also, you can make this less clunky by adding less duration instead of one of the supports, but you would have less damage a bit. But you don't. The body armor is here for the Cyclone. Cyclone basically is with the life tab because I cannot support the mana. So Cyclone with the life gain on hit because I don't really have leech, don't really have regen. And then Fortify for extra bit of tankiness, and Awaken cast while sharing just to give me stun immunity while cycloning, because I did not take the last rage node, which doesn't really give me much more damage because I don't really benefit from attack speed all that much, but you do need some attack speed because you don't want them to take too much time to attack. And General's Cry is linked with Earthquake. I don't even have quality. Earthquake critical damage, Divage and Pulverize, which gives more melee area damage, and Awaken melee physical damage, and Brutality. Pulverize and melee physical damage does have less attack speed, but it doesn't really matter because they cannot be stunned, and we just need to like place the Fissure, and then the Earthquake is gonna happen basically at the same speed as normally. I also end up having like 5 auras again. Like every time I go down and do like physical build, I end up going with like 5, 6, 7 auras. Like, I'm beginning to hate that. Especially if I also use Uprising to disable 1 aura's reservation cost, and just I'm able to squeeze in more auras. The rest is pretty like standard, I guess. I'm gonna leave path for building import code if you want to analyze this, but it's like nothing really special. I would not recommend this. It's like really squishy. It's not very pleasant if you keep dying from any hits. You kind of need to understand what enemies are gonna be doing and predict so that you don't die. So it's basically just don't get hit kind of build. But I was able to farm tier 16 maps, although I was trying to avoid some dangerous map mods like extra damage mods. You also need to avoid reduce or increase cooldown recovery. Wait, is it reduce? You basically want to avoid the cooldown recovery rate modifier on maps, because it goes from 2-second cooldown in my case to almost 4-second cooldown, and it feels absolutely horrible. I did manage to snag pretty decent gloves with the increased crit chance against shocked enemies and increased damage with hits against shield enemies, but for that reason I had to use skitterboards. If you don't use skitterboards and these kind of gloves, you can just use flesh and stone linked with maim, but then you're gonna have less damage while not in blood stance. So skitterboards also slows enemies down a bit, which is I guess sort of like a defensive layer. Not really defensive, it just gives you more time to dodge some stuff if you're even able to see what's happening on the screen. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I may do one more build, I'm not too sure. Kind of have an idea for Blade Vortex, but I just want big EV and big explosions and speed for Blade Vortex. So if I can achieve that, I'll do one more build, and other than that probably will take a break from PoE until the next league. So for now, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.